Well, we hope that you did enjoy that music coming from DSL. And, the good thing about Media General TV3 is churning out great talents from their great reality shows. You would also know this weekend, that will be this Sunday, is the finale for Ghana's Most Beautiful. And I know that the one who will be winning will be rewarded handsomely. There's an EV car available that will go to that great winner. Subsequently, that would also mean that the others will get consolation prizes. But just in case you've been following through the whole season, it's just 100 Ghana cedis for you to be at the venue, the National Theatre Live, on Sunday. I tell you, you have to make sure that you're there before the crowd and the way they tend to gather peak. All right. It'll also be shown live right here on TV3 and across social media streams of TV3, as well as 3 News. But look, we also have cash out. It goes with Shoko star 439#. I can already see a number of you on the streams who seem to be enjoying cash out sometimes. So 1,000 Ghana cedis will be going to 10 people. Today we have an array of some of the best political analysts as well as politicians from the 2 major political parties, MPP and NDC, as well as the disappointed members of the MPP who decided to defect to form a new movement. So we have the gang of 3 right here in the studio. And so we'll be talking about some important issues, and relevant will be the subject of Ahmed Suale. We know that now the main suspect has now been discharged by the court, but what does it speak about press freedom and all the things? We'll do some recollection so far. And then there's a subject matter that the TUC has been on, and it's about Galamsey. And this time they're giving the warnings again. You remember, during the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia-led government, they alongside the TUC, as well as whether it's NAT, even NAGRAT, among many of those unions, decided to put excessive pressure on that government. And they seem also to be towing the same line again. They say that they're likely to undertake some actions or protests thereof. But are they justified? If they are justified, why are those reasons? Well, helping us in the studio, I have Beatrice Anamfio. It's been a while I've seen her though, but no problem. Beatrice, you're looking beautiful.
Thank you.
And glowing as well.
Thank you. I'm just wearing bright colors, but right. Don't exaggerate it.
Right. And then Dr. Joshua Jebuntie Zato is the Sisala East man. He's also a lecturer with the University of Ghana. Indeed, has contested as the MPP parliamentary candidate at the time. But Chinia, is it Chinia Isahaku? He won subsequently as well. But Dr. Jebuntie Zato is a regular on Wednesdays as well as sometimes on Key Points. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. How are you?
Good morning, Roland.
Great.
Nice to be here.
Great. And then, of course, the president and then also chair for the Common Sense family of Ghana, the disappointed MPP man, but with the movement for change. He doesn't like me referring him as that. You say you're having Solomon Wusu, a new party outdoor.
Very important.
When, what would that be?
Tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, sharp.
Yeah.
The new party will be adored. I had promised you.
Will be led by Alan Kojo Chairman.
It's a political party.
Okay.
So tomorrow you will be unveiling interim executives. As for the flag bearer, we are yet to get there. But it promises to be full of action. This is a party ready to save this country.
Great. If I was leading the 3 News editorial team this morning, will be Alan John Kojo Chairman to lead a new political movement.
It's a political party.
Okay, a new political party out of the movement for change.
Yes, the movement
is that a good headline?
No. The movement is transitioning into a fully fledged political party.
Okay. Alan John Kojo Chairman leading a movement for change to transition into a political party. Is that a good headline? That
would be a good headline. And I'm sure your editors must pick it up tomorrow, 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
But we are expecting you there. And inviting all progressive-minded journalists to come.
Okay, send me an invitation.
Of course, officially I'm inviting you.
All right, that'll be fine. And then also for all those who have joined us on our stream, we're grateful that you have. Please share the stream. It promises to be exciting. We have some great people. I see Neodate Mills and bro, up in Finland. We have a lot of people watching us from the diaspora. And then, of course, Ruben Esiedu is putting on some scam messages, and Agongo Roger is complaining about that as well. And so all of you, Inshiraba Keofori, Ras Kotuka, Shaibu, Mohammed, and all of you, please share the stream. Let's have. But about the subject matter of Ahmed Suale, etc., let's do some recall. Gentleman to the Ghanaian public killed him. That's the accusation.
See, with all due respect to you, you journalists in this country, about 80%, 90%, you are the people going to destroy this country.
How so?
Yeah, because you misconstrue people's ideas. Whatever the person puts out there, the import of what the person puts out there, you never even analyze it. You only take just a second of a statement made out of the whole statement, let's say 8 minutes. You take about 30 seconds.
What were you trying to describe in that video?
Yeah, and I still maintain it, because I will not come here today and tell you that I want to be president and therefore what is the truth, I'll say is not the truth. It is. He's a bad guy, or he was. And let me tell you, if you don't have the evidence, Anas used them.
How did he use him?
Good. All those people that Anas destroyed with his videos and everything, Anas never showed his face, except this guy. This guy was bold to set everybody up. I have a lot of videos. Gentlemen, if you have time and you come to my house, I'll show you all the videos. There's not, with the exception of the Ivorian videos that I have, that you see Anas's face after the interview with the Ivorian ministers that he was entrapping. All the entrapment, it was Ahmed Suale who was sitting down with some fake Arabs who were saying that they were from the family of Sheikh Atani. So until a video comes out, you will never know that is Anas. But you know that...
One second in Japan. This is called undercover reporting. And undercover reporting, sometimes there are simulations that are undertaken to make sure you test the character of the person. To get the best out of the person, try to make a conclusion and a story. It's not wrong.
But you say undercover.
It has given you the image that you don't love journalists.
I don't care.
You discriminate against journalists, even though you employ some.
I employ people like you. And how would I say, would you say that I don't like them?
Not when you issue threats to them.
How do I issue threats? You think you are the only human being who have blood in you because you're a journalist? I'm afraid I don't believe in that. Because this man, if you know the number of people that have been killed, if you know the number of people that have lost their jobs, we have to be fair to all those families that Anas and Ahmed Suale set them up. You see, you didn't let me finish. It was Ahmed Suale, you are talking about undercover.
Yes, undercover.
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 So why didn't he, Ahmed Suale, also cover himself?
Because
he
it's
was
undercover.
there. No, you are saying undercover, but Ahmed Suale was there physically. Call Kwesi Nyantechi, he will tell you. Call Edubuahin, he will tell you. Call these ministers.
So why did you expose a gentleman to the Ghanaian public? Ultimately, the accusation is that it got him killed.
How did he get him killed? His own deeds killed him, not me.
All right.
What I said was that the first video I showed, you see why I have a problem with some journalists and you think I don't have it. There are a series of videos. You've taken only this one. The first one, when I mentioned Ahmed Suale, my workers came to me, oh, Honorable, you don't know this guy. This guy has been here for school fees. You gave him 1,500 cedis to go and pay his school fees. And I said, I don't know him. So they said, oh, he has been coming here all the time. So the first video, then I said, this guy is a bad guy. If he comes here, beat him up.
Subsequently, he was killed. And the main suspect has now been discharged. That's the latest. Now, we'll tell you what the court said and the position. I don't know whether it's the position of the AG. It look like, because the court says that the AG has dismissed the case or has made a decision to discontinue the case, so to speak. And we also know that based on the advice of the AG's office, remember this is all the advice of the AG's office, the call records placed the accused person's phone in the vicinity where the deceased was killed. However, the presence of the accused in the vicinity based on his phone's location alone, according to the court, was not sufficient to charge him with the murder of the deceased. Though it is stated in the police report that the accused was in the vicinity of the deceased on the day of the killing to monitor his movement, that also remains an inference until further evidence is discovered or adduced. Additionally, none of the sketches of the assailants generated by the police, based on the vivid descriptions of eyewitnesses, resembled the accused person. Neither has the investigation established that the accused was one of the assailants who shot the deceased. Remember, the assailants who shot the deceased were on a motorbike. Neither also has the investigation established that the accused was one of the assailants who shot the deceased, and that also repeated subsequently as well. Now, although the accused person could be an abettor, there must be adequate evidence to show that he was in the vicinity to abet the murder of the deceased. And the evidence presented to the office is indicating that this could not be sufficient enough to charge the accused person with the abetment to murder and murder in itself. Beatrice.
Thank you very much, Roland. I think that this is it's not a very interesting development if you ask me, but as a lawyer from where I sit, I can understand what is happening. It's not enough that you go to court with something that is not so weighty, especially when the offense or the charge is murder, because then you have the maximum sentence to be imposed. And I think that they haven't even done so much, and over the years, they've been going back and forth. And while we talk about this, it brings me very bad memory of where we have come from as a country.
How do you mean?
I feel, and I mean, not to remind the families of Ahmed Suale of their pain and everything, but I made the point yesterday that today we are enjoying a certain refreshing environment when it comes to governance. Today, when I look at when I listen to radio stations and watch TV stations, journalists have the right to express editorial opinions without fear or favor, without having to fear for their lives. And while I say this, I sadly recount some of the cases like Kaka, who had to lose his life. Why? Because he expressed an opinion. And you have so many, in recent past, you have TUCs storming media houses, or MPP TUCs storming media houses. You had governments being the enablers. And even the video you played, Kennedy Ejapon himself, who is the front runner, I tip him to win over Dr. Baumia.
You tip him to win over?
Yes. I think that he would be within the MPP, maybe a more credible candidate than Dr.
I'm not too sure.
But we'll come. But we'll come
Dr. Jabuti Zato will agree with you.
Yes. I know he's about me, but we'll come to that. And some of the very unguarded statements they made merely because they had access to screens and microphones, and practically put the lives of people at risk. Today, the then MPP government went to court without any solid evidence, without conducting the right investigation. And I've been reading a number of things from the spouse, from the families of Ahmed Suale, it's not a good thing. And I spoke to the Attorney General yesterday, and he assured me that he was going to pay attention to the case.
You mean Dr. Dominic Ayeni
Dr. Dominic Ayeni himself. He assured me that he was going to pay attention to the case. He assured me that he was going to make sure that whatever needs to be corrected is corrected. Because what happens is that normally the Attorney General gives a fiat to state prosecutors, I mean police prosecutors, to do some of these things, especially when it's at the district level. And so when it escalated to his desk, he would do something about it. And I encourage the Attorney General that we shouldn't let this case just go like that. We must bring the perpetrators to justice, because we cannot continue to allow the MPP to create the impression that it is okay for journalists to be attacked. We cannot continue to build a society where we think that it is fine for people not to have dissenting opinion. I have been doing a lot of media appearances, and one of the questions one of your sister station asked me was that Dumelevo is a member of your government. He has expressed a contrary opinion. And I made a certain point forcefully that over the past 8 years, we lived in an environment that was practically gagged. And so people are not used to the fact that even within the same party, even within the same team, dissenting opinions should be allowed. And that merely because you dissented does not mean that you disapprove. If you listen to some of the unprintable words that the MPP are using on themselves, have you seen the 16 sins of Dr. Baumia?
16 sins?
16 sins. He only had 16. Brian Champon had 10. Kennedy Japan had 10. But as
you mean their internal presidential
primary? If you look at how...
Well, somebody will say that's internal.
Yes, that's internal. But it's a micro reflection of what they would do when they are given power. Because even amongst themselves, I'm here with my party person, Dr. Samiaye. He's my friend. When we have disagreements internally, we should not be insulting ourselves using unprintable words. Why? Because we have a common opponent to fight. So if we cannot tolerate our views, if we cannot agree to disagree, if we cannot have a very we cannot exercise some restraint in our discussion, we can imagine what we'll do when we have power. These guys, when they had power, you could not, they say who born dog? You could not even express a contrary opinion. You are not even allowed to investigate corruption. In the past NDC government, you saw Manasseh, and I'll say it, and Manasseh disagrees with me in some of the stories he made about a confirmed flying and whatever. Those stories were very baseless, like the Ford expedition and all that. He is on record to have said that even the NDC government asked for protection for him because we recognize how sometimes the base will react. In the MPP, today we are having to discuss Ahmed Suale. What was the crime of Ahmed Suale? What was his offense? That as an undercover journalist, he was part of a team that was uncovering a rot. And somehow, a possible flag bearer of the MPP was not happy with him. Or that some members of the MPP were not happy. And displayed his picture on TV, asking people to do what they think they want to do to him. He lost his life. And I want
he said that he
I want to hear Dr. Zato on this. I really want to hear Dr. Zato on this. Because I want to know what possible defense, when some of these things happen,
the accusation you're making this pointedly is that within the MPP period,
a lot happened.
There was a culture of silence, or perceived culture of silence?
It was not perceived. It was actually a real culture of silence, not just culture of silence. It is as if your freedom of speech is guaranteed, but your freedom after speech was not guaranteed. And so you could speak because you may not know what will be the action or inaction of government, but after you speak, is that not the same government that the likes of Solomon Owusu and the people left because their dissenting opinions were not welcomed? And so if the likes of Alan Shermanton and very big fishes could leave the MPP because they said that the country was headed in the wrong direction, let's do the right thing. Even then, they dealt with them. You saw how Afoko, who is a member of the MPP internally, was dealt with. Afoko was kept in prison. Sometimes I don't even want to mention the Afoko. One day when I went to a client at BNI and I saw Afoko, I had to bow my head in shame. And today...
Paul Afoko?
Yes.
Or Gregory Afoko?
Gregory Afoko. As for Paul Afoko and Kwabena Japan, what happened to them? At least they should be thankful that they are not behind bars or they don't have acid, they've not been bathed in acid. They should be grateful. The MPP consistently have demonstrated that they are not a political party that understand the tenets of democracy. And so it is so sad that today we have to be discussing Ahmed Suale and the fact that the state prosecutors have had to discontinue the case. Because it means that even at the time they were going to court, Godfrey Dami was going to court, he had not put, things well. How were we expecting the Godfrey Dami to investigate your second flag bearer, potential, what's his name? Kennedy Japan. How were we expecting them within the same party? How were we expecting them to conduct a very thorough investigation? And so I'm very optimistic, and I want to follow this case and encourage Dr. Ayine that we have to bring justice and we have to bring some closure to the families of Ahmed Suale, not just Ahmed Suale. When we talk about these things, we can link them to electoral violence. 8 people who lost their lives. It was as if under the MPP, it was just not the macroeconomic issues. Our lives, our liberties, and everything. Today, it feels so refreshing. It feels so refreshing waking up and knowing that you can express your opinion, you can come and say anything, and you will walk out and you don't have to look back, you don't have to do anything.
Let us wrap up on
it. It is just something that I want to say that if you look at how things are going, the NDC may not be perfect. The NDC may not claim perfection. But when we come here to discuss some of these things, even the discussion of Ahmed Suale should remind us of how never to allow a party like the MPP to be in charge of the country. There must be a formidable opposition. We welcome that they will put pressure on us. But I think they do not know how to handle power. They do not know how to handle dissenting opinion. And I pray that what happened to Ahmed Suale should never happen to any journalist. And I also want to encourage the media houses. When some of these things happen, please don't let us discuss them only when there are some of these things happening. You must engage in a consistent campaign so that all political parties will sit up and know that there will be repercussions if you attack journalists.
All right. And if you remember, we all did as media. And Dr. Zato, the narrative Beatrice and Theo is trying to paint today is that was a siege mentality. You couldn't have made commentary if you're a journalist, so to speak, and then even within the public space and go scot-free. And the murder, brutally, of Ahmed Suale, and subsequently we see where we are today, is testament to that atmosphere that was created. You dispute that, don't you?
Good morning to you. This morning, I want to extend my deepest condolences to the family of Ahmed Suale, and to his colleagues and the people that care a lot about him. He's dead. The Muslims say that they will have to wish him Jannah to his fathers. And I hope I've pronounced it very well. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Now, before I delve into the specific Ahmed Suale case,
you have a question.
It's important to address some of the issues that have come up because they are important.
Like what?
They're important here. What we've just heard from Honorable Beatrice here is hypocrisy on steroids. What we've just heard is this early morning
hypocrisy
is
on steroids?
Hypocrisy pro max. Look, the NDC has been in power for just 10 months. One, Abronye DC is a Ghanaian. Say whether you like him or not. This man was put in prison just 10 months. Do you think today, if you ask Abronye DC, he will tell you that everything in this country is honky-doky, president? Do you think he will say that?
Is it Abronye?
This is Abronye.
Is it Abronye who was queried by the MPP because of what he said?
Abronye was put in police cells for a misdemeanor. I'm not a lawyer, she is. For the misdemeanor, this man spent his life to good look. People, almost every Ghanaian you know, came out to appeal against why he was being kept for that. You think today, if you ask Abroja, he will tell you that this whole country is just honky-ponky press freedom. Joy FM came out with this to do a documentary. It was called Dear John Mahama. Pressure came from senior members of government forcing, compelling Joy FM to change that, to change both the picture and the name because it was about the president.
Told you that? Because it will be aired today.
So, yes, pressure came on Joy FM to change that headline today. In this era of press freedom, that this hoax of a press freedom you're talking about.
Pressure?
Secondly, Musa Dakwa did
who put the pressure on Joy?
Senior members of the NDC. Musa Dakwa did a research. Musa Dakwa is a seasoned, is a pollster. He did a poll. Senior members of the NDC came out and told Musa Dakwa that it's too early to do that research. They attacked him. Musa Dakwa has to cry out to say that even under the MPP, he did a lot of polls. Nobody in the MPP ever called him not to do research. That was Musa Dakwa. Mr. Ahoy had to call into Metro TV to chastise a journalist for daring to discuss NDC internal polls. We can go on and on and on about this. That's just thing. So if all these things are happening, you see, it just happened that all this are happening to members of who happen to be MPP. In spite of all these things, if you now come to sit here and now you are trying to tell the whole world that forget, there's nothing to see here, everything is honky-dory, everything is cool, then it tells you that you are there is a mismatch. You are living in an alternative universe that doesn't bear to it, because all these people, this is I've talked about, they've happened in the 8 months. In the 8 months with the government honeymoon. Do you know what happened by next edition next
Dr.
time?
Zato,
yes.
Dr. Zato, do you say that Atu Ahoy calling into the Metro TV program and then also reacting to what Paul Adumotre was saying and the subject matter thereof is equitable or could be equal to putting a journalist's photo on air and making utterances ultimately, whether they influence or not, his death is the same?
What I'm saying is that this idea, this idea, this concept that all of a sudden we've just woken up to everywhere, the whole media is free, everything is free. It's a lie.
It's a lie.
It's a big hoax and it's a lie. No, these infractions happen. And in fact, sometimes they get worse as the governments get older. That is if you look at everything about it, they happen. And they happen because sometimes the journalists or the people themselves may go across the line or something happen. The idea then that all these things are new in the MPP and only happen in the MPP, but then they will not happen in the ADC is wrong. So let me now go to the substantive case. When this issue happened, we politicized it. Not only do we politicize, we over-politicize it. And then the whole country, we engage in what I will refer to as a tunnel vision. Everybody came to the conclusion that Ahmed Suale was murdered because of his work with Tiger Eye. There was just conclusion. So much so that it was then believed that the people who murdered Ahmed Suale were the people he was trying to expose or he had exposed. Invariably, because the people he was exposing were government officials, senior government officials, then it meant that the government had killed him. When you engage in this kind of tunnel vision, you close or you avoid yourself from looking at what we call alternative explanations, from looking at other possible scenarios. And that is what we ran with. So much so the senior opposition members promised the whole world and the whole country that when they come into power, they will find the killers of Ahmed Suale. That when they come to power, they'll find...
Who did that?
Who did that? There's a story here from GNA. GNA, 28th November 2020.
That will find the killers
at 3:34 p.m. The headline is, NDC administration will bring Ahmed Suale's killers to justice. They were quoting His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana. It's a GNA story. Do
you think the manner in which he was killed was fair? And so there has to be
there's no murder that is fair. There can be no murder that is fair. There can be no killing that is fair. So, but the point I'm making is this, if you let me do, is this tunnel vision we all got into. Because we all just assume that because he was doing work that may be against government officials, that those government officials killed him. And because those government officials killed him, those same government officials could not, or the state could not be depended upon to bring his killers to justice. So, the only way he can get justice is if the government is out of power and a new administration comes, then that new administration, because
but the government
no
just came to power.
Yes, they just came to, again, that's the point I'm making. Okay. Now you came to power, you now review the evidence, you took the gas cost, and the gas is so much question then is that. So,
in relation to that, and then also trying to justify or not whether there was a culture of silence.
I've not tried to justify anything.
Okay. The Press Freedom Index is a good indicator.
Yes, yes, it is.
And by 2022, we had dropped sharply.
2022?
Yeah. To 60 to 60 to 66.
Yes.
Subsequently, even by 22, so to speak.
Yes.
And then that had been a concern for everybody else. You don't think that's a concern?
It's a concern. I'm not saying it's not concern.
Because you're a political scientist.
Yes,
right?
I've just told you. I'm not saying it's not concern. I've told you. I've explained.
So what are you saying?
I've explained that. This idea, yes, there were infractions on the journalists. There were some media freedoms rights were trampled upon. I've agreed. I'm not saying that did not happen.
Okay, so
but
you do agree. I do agree that it happened. You do agree there's a correlation between the index falling sharply or us doing poorly as a country, and then also Ahmed Suale's murder amid other infractions committed against you?
No, I have no evidence to draw that correlation at all. Okay. Absolutely not. But the point I'm making is that it happened, yes. I'm not saying that the media was perfect, everything was, no, the way first happened. But the point I'm now making is that we are seeing similar things right now, this early in the administration. 10 months into the administration, we are seeing similar things. And I'm telling you that to the extent of even trying to gag a pollster, an academic, to the extent of telling a whole media house that don't publish the story that you want to publish. I am saying that this is early days yet. But you are seeing the ugly head of this thing rearing up. So if you then sit down, and in fact, a fair analysis would be to say that, look, we've seen it has happened before, and we are beginning to see signs of it. As a country, collectively, we have a duty and a responsibility to make sure that it doesn't happen, to make sure that the Press Freedom Index rises and improves, to make sure that we've got a right to do that. But if the impression you are trying to create is that it was bad here, but all of a sudden, just because of the change, saying something magical has happened, all of it is just been, that's not true, that's not fair, and that's hypocritical. Okay. The point here, the final what I want to say is that, look, we need to move away from this tunnel vision approach of just thinking that political opponents or enemies had a hand in this guy's murder. We need to move away from that. If I will advise anybody investigating, I will say, it is time to investigate by two administrations. And they found absolutely no evidence to link anybody to a murder. But somebody did murder this gentleman. With that, his family and this person needs justice. My point is that it's time for us to begin to look at new theories. It's time for us to look at
tunnel vision theory.
We shall abandon that.
Okay.
It's time for us to begin to look at new routes. It's time for us to look for new theories. It's time for us to look for new explanations. In other words, it's time for us to sit back and say, is it possible this has absolutely nothing to do with politics? Is it possible this has absolutely nothing to do with the work he was doing? Right. Is it possible that there are other explanations? Unless or until we do that, if we continue this rat hole that we have in, two administrations have now cleared us certain, we will never bring justice to the man. But his family demands justice, he deserves justice, and the laws of natural justice demand that as a country, as a state, we bring those who killed this young man to justice. We can only do that if we take the political shackles out of our eyes and begin to treat this as any other crime and then allow the police, the investigators, the free hand to do it. Because see, if we keep doubling this as a criminal thing, then we are forcing the police to fill the narrative. If we create this narrative, then all we are simply telling them that fill the gaps in the narrative.
That is just a normal crime.
Exactly. So we should just let them treat as a normal murder, as a normal crime. Then they are free to exploit all the theories and bring their killers to justice.
And it's good that he keeps mentioning theories, because if you tend to follow his narratives as a lecturer, he tends to also back his argument with theories. And could there be any correlation, knowing that there's a certain culture of you not being able to express yourself without getting any retributive reaction within the period of the MPP administration, ultimately culminating in a key political stakeholder, a member of parliament, subsequently intending to become a presidential candidate of the governing party of the time, making these inferences, making these gestures. Of course, no evidence has been adduced that he was responsible for it. At the end of the day, could influence opinion or not?
Roland, it could. And I'm here listening to my brother Zato complain about politicization of such issues. And he himself ended up doing the very politics that he's accusing Beatrice of doing, or former administration of having done, which does not augur well for our political discourse. When I heard Kennedy Japan do what he did, in terms of calling out Ahmed Suale, I wasn't happy, Because no matter how you disagree with anybody, you cannot court hatred for the person. Yes, there is no evidence that it was Kennedy Japan that killed him. The police has not established that. But let me say that some of these things, the Ghana Police Service is the institution that is letting us down. And they cannot convince me sitting down here that Ghana as a small country, Accra as a very small city, something of this sort happens, and you tell me since 2019 you have not gotten closer to the murderers. That cannot be something I'll be proud of. Remember, you were in this country in 1998 when Ousu Setreke and Ninja, you remember the Taekwondo guy and
the police officer who was buried
exactly, together with Jerry Wonu Tola. They were killed, buried, but the police administration was able to establish where he was. The two were buried. The Ghana Police Service, if they want to be professional, they will be professional. Some of these things, in their own interest, they sit on it. We must call them out. We have had an MP in this country, J.B. Edu, what's the name? J.B. Dankwa, killed like a chicken. And as we speak, we don't know the perpetrator of that heinous crime. What are you talking about? If people like this are dying and we cannot apprehend the culprits, then, Roland, what happens to some of us? Because every day we are on television doing advocacy, doing activism. Then, because you said something that is not good for you anyway, death is one, you can do whatever. But the point is that when you are not able to assure the public that something of this sort, the police administration will be able to go closer into it and then get the culprits arrested, then it does not assure any confidence. But let me deal with certain specifics. You see, nobody must attempt to paint the Akufo-Addo administration as being. Azuri had to run for his dear life, run away from this country. Why not in this country? Look,
Manasseh Azuri.
Azuri had to run away. Erastus Asaredonko, he has been doing all this Galamsey, what do you call it? Exposés. Go and ask him the sort of threats he received under the New Patriotic Party. Look, pundits, panelists, they were doing a program on UTV, United Television. Was an entertainment program on Saturday. We had NPP youth who invaded a live show to scatter everything. Why not in this country? Why not in this country? So when we are saying some of these things, we must not try to enter into the realm of politics. The institutions must work. You see, I've had a problem with some of these investigations. Remember in 2007, Samuel Lenin, he was the president of the Ashanti region, GJ. He was murdered in cold blood like that.
Samuel Lenin.
Lenin. Like joke. As we speak, we don't even know the perpetrators of this act. I find it very disturbing that in this country that everybody is a gossiper. That whatever you do, they will gossip. I've told you that if you take out Ethiopia, we are the next country that gossips than any country.
They are gossips, yeah.
So how wouldn't you be able to apprehend the culprits?
So you're saying if the police want to do their work,
they know the killers, they must go for them. Whose interests are they protecting?
Now let me ask you a substantive question. Do you think there was a culture of silence or there was a siege atmosphere?
Yes.
In your ability to be able to express yourself?
Yes.
Whether you're a journalist or a public speaker, etc., within the last administration?
No, there was.
Comparable to this?
There was a huge one. Even within the parties, remember 80 people or 88 people said that the former finance minister had to be booted out of office. Go and ask what happened to them. Haven't you heard Andy Appiah Kubi say there was an attempt to poison him?
95.
They moved
the
to
MPs.
The MPs. Within their own party.
Your former party?
I've left, so now I don't want to. You want to refer me as former party. That tomorrow my party is coming. Please cease referring me to former party. I have moved on.
I apologize.
But the truth of the matter is that I wasn't safe. That is why most of the men in that party became timid, became women in that party. And so when I hear them speak today, some of them speak today, I cringe. I say, where were you in the last 8 years? Look, in the last 8 years, a journalist by name Bismarck Brown, they organized Meet the Press at the Jubilee House. This guy, I think he was doing his journalistic business as usual, went and asked a fundamental question about the Ministry of Health. He was hounded out of where he was working. Later on, he found himself hopping from one radio station to the other in Kumasi. Go and see, listen to what happened to the family. Things have happened in this country.
Bismarck Brown.
Bismarck Brown, you can call him.
BB.
BB. Because the president of the day didn't like the sort of question that was asked. And as though the questions were already planted to journalists, that question became a strange question per arrangement. So the president was like, how can you, who are you to come and ask that question? After that, working with a thinker, he suffered. So the truth of the matter is that it has not been better, but we have to improve upon it. We need to cause our police institution to be professional. They know the killers, and I still insist they know them. If they were able to identify a corpse, a dead body that was buried beneath the earth without their knowledge, then they have no business telling me that they do not know the killers of Ahmed Suale, especially when we are told by our witness that even the guy that shot, he had to do a kissing, a goodbye kiss to the dead body. Haven't you read their report?
You mean shot and then?
Yes, he said shot and then. I have never seen someone before that the guy is so happy that he has been able to kill a human being. It means there could be vivid description of the culprit. So how did they get it wrong by going to arrest a wrong culprit when you have the image of the person that has been described? Are you trying to throw dust into the eyes of the people? So they have to come again. I'm not too sure this ends the case. They must rather go back, do what is right. The police administration must speak the truth. Tell us who was behind it, and not just that. Any murder that happens in this country, it must not affect big fishes in society, but any ordinary person or people that we consider as non-entities, they must be of interest to the people, so that everyone can be working in this country with confidence, not fearing anything that happens.
Because nobody is above the law.
The law
All right.
is the law.
Martin Kpebu is a legal practitioner. He's on the line. Good morning to you, Mr. Kpebu. Mr. Kpebu. Mr. Kpebu.
Yes, good morning. Yes, morning.
And I do understand from Beatrice, who is a legal practitioner as well, says discharge is not acquittal. So it means that the AG can reopen this case anytime, right?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, under our law, that is it. If a person is discharged simpliciter, then it means that the case has not been dealt with on its merits. That is simply put, the court go into the case proper. The court didn't investigate the case, right? Sometimes, yes, the investigations can begin, but it doesn't get to the point where I call it point of no return. If it doesn't get to that point, maybe you can even call 5, 7 witnesses. But if the prosecution has not closed this case and the case has to come to an end, they will still say discharge, meaning that the court hasn't gotten to that threshold. But if, let's say, the prosecution closes case, that one, they cannot say discharge. Of course, there's always a right to enter nolle prosequi before the judge rules. But that's not what we are dealing with here. Just to keep it simple here, the court has not gone into the merits of the case. The court has not listened to the witnesses. The people who said it is Mr. Kurante who was behind it. The court has not heard them. So once the court has not heard them and has to cancel the case, the AG said that they will cancel the case because of the insufficient evidence. Then that's it. Anytime they find the right evidence, they can return, and then the case will be heard.
All right. Now, subsequently, there's been a big debate on the platform, right here, I mean, whether it's from Jabunti Zato, PhD, to Beatrice, to Solomon, a pointed debate about whether there was a culture of strangulation in relation to how to air your own opinion in the environment which was governed by the MPP in the last administration. What's your own take on that before I let you go?
Oh, that one, let me use this legal term, but we like using it colloquially. We say res ipsa. Res ipsa, meaning the matter speaks for itself. It's the MPP that have to come and explain. No, it was so rampant. It was obvious that we're living under a culture of silence. And remember, even Sam Jonah had to come in. You know, when the culture of silence was getting to its peak, Sam Jonah had to come in. And then, you know, it erupted another round of discussions and debates here and there. Sam Jonah, yes, he came in and delivered a speech and said, look, he sees the return of the culture of silence, okay? And generally, a lot of people spoke up. You remember, so me, today, as I said, you know, every Saturday when I appear on the key points, Saturday morning on TV3, I single out a few people and then allow them for speaking out when we had a culture of silence. I usually mention Sophie Kufu, the former Chief Justice, whom I have nicknamed the Asantua. Then we named Doma Ahini. He used to also speak, notwithstanding that he's a chief, he used to speak against the ills in the Kufuor government. Then we mentioned Tobe Afede, the chief Awumefia of Asogli State, Agbogbo of Asogli State, etc. You say, and then Kentucky Teku Churu II, also asking for justice in the Cecilia Dapa matter. Cecilia Dapa, who had millions of dollars and Ghana cedis in her home, that she cannot explain how she got that money, right? So there was a culture of silence. And if we want to be scientific, earlier on you referred to the Press Freedom Index. As far as I can remember, for the 8 years that Kufuor was in government, it's only 2 years that he did well compared to the previous JEA Mills and John Mahama administration. Yes, you can check the record. For the 8 years, his best year was 2018. That was when we even celebrated the World Press Freedom Day in Ghana. We were #1 in Africa, I think, for that year, 2018. And that was it. After that, you know, Ahmed Suale died in 2019. And then we went down,
But Mr. Kwebu, within the MPP period, you were talking left, right, center. Nobody stopped you.
Yes, I'm coming to that. But you know, my name is Kwebu. You don't understand what Kwebu means. The spirits are different. The spirits are different, you know. So when you have a few people, so you see, the spirits, when I say the spirits are different, so I'm a man of courage, extra courage. But the average man didn't find that space. It had to take people of extraordinary courage.
Okay.
So that's not freedom of speech. There's a culture of silence.
All right, thank you.
It's when the average man can speak, then you say, yes, there's freedom of speech.
Thank you. Mr. Kwebu, I wish you all the best for the day.
You're welcome.
Fantastic man so far. And Beatrice, the Trade Union Congress, they are on
Yes,
government's case.
but I think you should oblige me. Some
Yes,
one
but I
minute.
asked the question. The Trade Union Congress is on the case of government. They say just like they did for MPP, they're also going to perhaps protest in so many ways, the way they do it, over the subject matter of Galamsey and how it's been dealt with by government.
Okay,
So I'll oblige you maybe some 2 minutes. I know you take 3 or 4.
Yes. But I have to first respond to some of the things that Dr. Zato has mentioned. So to Dr. Zato, let me say that maybe you may not see it, but the greatest evidence of the freedom of speech and the fresh air, and even the freedom after speech that we are enjoying in Ghana is you, Dr. Zato.
Oh.
Because Dr. Zato can shout, say a lot of things, and after the show, nobody comes after him. The story of Manasseh and Bibi, they were not even shouting, but they did not have the right environment. So it cannot be hypocrisy on steroids. And Dr. Dazo is a PhD holder. He cannot tell me that when people conduct research, like the Musa Dankwa polls that he referred to, and the opinion is that it may be too early for you to conduct research, that amounts to attacking academic freedom. My goodness, that cannot be the case. And again, the issue of somebody changing headlines. Roland, I expected you to put him to some proof and explain to him that sometimes even editors will get editorial policies wrong. I worked with the Enquirer newspaper when I was in the university. And when you do a story and it is brought to your attention that you did not get these right, sometimes the media houses are so humble, they either put the story down.
Well, this week there was an apology that was given to
they
the sports minister.
They either pull the story down, or they issue an apology, or they
retraction.
do a retraction. That cannot be somebody oppressing. Dr. Zato, maybe you were not around under the MPP government. I don't know whether Dr. Zato was on your show, but some of the richest people in this country, like Sam Jonah, who is not a Cadbury member, said that there was a culture of silence. But why are we even going far? Professor Frimpong Boateng. Professor Frimpong Boateng.
What did he do?
When he authored a report on MPP members who were engaged in Galamsey, look at what happened to Professor Frimpong Boateng. In your own party. In your own party. Professor Frimpong Boateng is not an NDC Cadbury member. Then he says, oh, please, let's get serious with discussions. If you want to equalize when the NDC government has done something wrong, Dr. Zato, come stronger. Come with very solid, and I have consistently maintained that the present Mahama presidency you are experiencing, for which reason we are committed to major macroeconomic stabilities that your Baumia could not give the people of Ghana. We also welcome very dissenting opinions. And so when you are trying to counter a murder case, at a time when we are discussing a life lost, you are comparing it to Musa Dankwe's research that people said is too early, and this is the rebuttal. At a time when we are talking and people are in pains about some of the things that happened to them. My friend Caleb Kuda, what was his crime? Because he wanted to film something as a journalist, ended up with the NIB. And when you have to equalize, you are saying that change of headlines. I mean, we should not do this to ourselves. Sometimes I don't know whether you bring him here as a member of the MPP or as an objective person. Because when I'm dealing with him, I don't know whether to deal with him as an objective person or a member of the MPP. But if he's a member of the MPP, no, I think I've seen his pictures where he's a member of the MPP. But if he's a member of the MPP, he must know that his party did a lot of disservice to this nation. He must know that the MPP led Ghana into abyss. We should not even be reminding people of our pains. You came from an election with an electoral defeat of over 1.7 million. At this time, you ought to be doing introspection. You ought to be reflecting on what were the wrongs. At this time, we expect you, on one breath, they are apologizing, on an apology talk. On another breath, they are saying that, you know what, we did everything right, which is which. I can understand that they are going through some emotional, turbulent moments because they want to elect a new flag bearer. But let's not equalize what happened in the past.
The time is running.
No journalist has died. You cannot compare death to dissenting opinion. Yes, under MPP, people were speaking. It didn't mean that everybody was quiet. We were saying that certain things that the government did not feel comfortable with, there was a way they reacted to it. Press freedom, as at 2022, reduced, and Ghana moved from 1st to 10th position. I have the index here. So when we say and when we make some suggestion, we do that in the hope that even we as NDC government, we will learn. So let not people try to reduce the discussion, and you know the evidence, Abronye. Abronye. What? Is it because Abronye is insulting Kennedy Japan for the Baumia campaign that today Abronye is an idol in society whose freedom has been curtailed? What did Abronye do? And did you check who the complainant is in the Abronye case? Did Dr. Zato check? Government had nothing to do with that. In fact, many government communicators, including myself, we were on record to have criticized the decision of the court. You could not do that. Under your government, everything the court did was sacred. Did you see governments trying to condone that? I mean, those acts which we felt were not in tandem. So, Dr. Zato should come back stronger.
Okay.
Now,
TUC.
So the matter of the TUC.
You have only 4 minutes.
I will do justice in 4 minutes. Don't worry.
TUC.
Now to the matter of the TUC. Galamsey is a threat to everybody. And so we in government, we recognize that anybody who wants to join the fight, who wants to add their voice to the fight, must be welcome. And President Mahama is not a beneficiary of Galamsey and illegal mining. So the end of illegal mining does not affect this government in any way. In fact, it goes to our credit. We will add it to the list of the things we are able to achieve, just like President Mahama solved Doomsol. And over the period we have been in office, I can assure you that 9 forest areas, which the MPP claimed were red zones, have been repossessed by this government. 9 forest areas. I can assure you that today, the president, through the amendment of LI 2462, in LI 2501, is saying that take away my powers. I cannot give mining leases and permits to people to mine in forests. Even that, there is a promise for more to be done, that the LI itself will be revoked. So when the TUC says that they want to go for a special meeting and declare, or maybe not strike, but take an action, I want to give TUC the assurance that the government of President John Mahama is not the same as the past government. And that this government is committed not in words, but by our actions in fighting the Galamsey menace. And they should keep faith with the NDC government. President Mahama is a man of integrity. He will not come and lie to you that he will declare a state of emergency at a time when he will be giving mining licenses to his party people. He would not do that. He has even said that no government appointee should be engaged in in legal mining. So not to talk of illegal. He says that if you want to engage in legal mining, bring my appointment letters and then go and engage in whatever business you want to engage in. But having established that point, Roland, it's also important to remind our viewers that on 9th October, the TUC met then President Nanado.
9th October, the last year?
Last year, 2024.
Okay.
They met Nanado. And the Secretary General of the TUC, Mr. Joshua Ansa, indicated that they were going to suspend their strike that they had threatened if the MPP did not start the fight against Galamsey. Because remember, the MPP left the fight against Galamsey as far back as 2023 because they said we were going into an election year, and in 2020 they had lost many mining areas, which we have even proven to them that is not true. But that was the reason. You had senior members of the party like Ayiwe Friye and Nana Poku coming to say that they would not stop the Galamsey, they will not fight them. But when the TUC met President Nanado, these were the things Nanado promised them. The first one is deployment of additional military personnel, suspension of mining and forest reserve, strengthening prosecution of illegal mining cases, and then call for a national pact on illegal mining. Based on these things, the TUC said they were satisfied that the then government was going to do the right thing, so they will not go on strike. They did not go on strike. So I want to assure my sweet TUC that for all the things that President Akufo-Addo assured them of, we have even enhanced and done it better. Yes, and I'll give you one. At the time the TUC met Nanado, there were no military people deployed in the fight against Galamsey. It was free for all. Today, as I speak to you, there is a NIMO secretariat, that is made up of all security forces that is currently protecting our river bodies and also protecting our forest reserve. So TUC, be rest assured that the NDC government is not engaged in a 9-day wonder. Secondly, they said suspension of mining in forest reserve, and then TUC became satisfied. I want to tell them that for us, even the Regulation 3 that gives that would have given the president the powers to actually grant leases for people to mine in forest area, that Regulation 3 does not exist. So the president, as we speak today, cannot give any permits for people to mine. And I think that if the TUC were satisfied, then I think they ought to be satisfied now. They can call for more. Like Oliver Twist, we welcome more and we welcome the pressure. Again, strengthening of prosecution of illegal cases. I can assure the TUC that over 1,400 arrests have been made, not just of the workers. This government is committed at going after the kingpins like Akunta Mining, Wuntumi, and the rest. And as we speak, Akunta Mining and others are before courts. And finally, the last thing the PUC and the TUC agreed to was a call for a national pact on illegal mining. Today, President Mahama has engaged civil society. TUC was invited to that engagement. We hear their concern. There will be consistent engagement. What I can assure them is that, unlike the past, no political appointee of President Mahama is engaged in Galamsey. Nobody at Jubilee is a beneficiary. And we are just not doing things in the media. So we are happy to engage the TUC. We are happy to, not just the TUC, but all other civil society organizations. And I can assure them that together and with their support, we will win the fight against illegal mining.
Dr. Zato.
Thank you very much.
What's your reaction to this?
Thank you.
Because wouldn't you say that TUC is only being consistent?
This morning, I really celebrate Beatrice Anna's, what's the name? Selective amnesia. I really celebrate that. And I like the fact that she's making hypocrisy an art form. It's really good for you. It's good for you. Keep doing that. Look, you just had Martin Kribu, and you asked him the question that every rational human being is asking him. For almost 8 years, right here behind me on Key Points, every 8 years, he get even personal with Nanado. Saying things, some of the things that you cannot print. Never seen anything good about it. For 8 years. Today you are saying here there was no press freedom. That was my test. And I'm happy you called him out on that hypocrisy. How can you sitting here make it an art, make it a job, make it a profession to sit down here and run down a government like that for 8 years and then you say that there was no press freedom? I like that. We were in this country when the National Communications Officer of the NDC led a movement, led people, and he was singing. Kunana do maya radi kunana maya or say or mano or say or mano. We were here. The same person was singing kuna kud baumia maya radi ku baumia maya. You have a national communication officer calling, invoking God to kill the sitting president, to kill the sitting vice president. What is the reward? He's made a CEO of Gold Board today, and you are saying there was no press freedom. What is so me? Look, you sit down here and you look at this, and then you begin to understand how difficult your job is. To begin to now tell us that despite all this, despite calling for the death, there were things that people ask for. People were praying, asking for. Dr. Baumia was sick, went out for treatment. People almost asked for his death. Senior government officials were sick, went for treatment. People were celebrating, salivating, hoping and praying openly for them to die. They never died. And then today you had the affronted to come and sit there and say there was no press freedom. The press was gone. When all this will happen, what did happen? Simple, small. All Obama Pokose did was repost a picture. Repost something that everybody, a picture, a video that has been in circulation for almost 3-4 years. All he did was repost it. He was picked up. All Abronya said was that he criticized the Inspector General of Police. Abronya was picked up. The whole country came together.
But Abronya himself has been punished, or is going to go through a punishment procedure by the MPP.
Can I go ahead? So the point
so his actions clearly were wrong.
Today, as I'm sitting here, what I'm saying is that I like it, and I like the fact that we are going on this tangent, and I like the fact that we are kind of bit to sit here and then try to claim that there's something changed. It's wrong. Anybody who is saying that who is winner has an agenda, has a vindictive agenda, and you can go ahead. I have no problem with that. But don't sit down here and try to make it look like everything is honey everything is hunky-dory just because of the change of government. Because we have seen that. We have seen the oppression, we've seen the suppression, we've seen people picked up at night, we've seen common people that I never knew, people that I never heard of, picked up, knocked down, picked up middle of the night, their families crying where they are on the front. I just mentioned so Obama Pokwase. Was he not, didn't they knock down, pick him up? Did they read him his fundamental human rights? How long did it take before he got a lawyer? Is that so? He doesn't have human rights. He's not a human being because he's entity. He doesn't have human rights. No. Yeah, that money was said. So he doesn't have human rights. He doesn't have fundamental human rights. They shouldn't be respected. Or you are saying that because NDC is power, the human rights of NDC and their activists should not be respected. Is that the point you are making? If you are saying that there are two different types, make that point. But don't sit down here and try to make it look like this. No, it's not. That is not fair and that is not right. And we shouldn't allow you to chip in governance, to chip press freedom to that level because you were wrong and you shouldn't do that. 3 months to elections, TUC backed at the government of Ghana, threatened to shut down this whole country because of a strike, because of Galamsey. Internationally, that is not done. The trade unions do not trust themselves into competitive elections.
But
their principles, can I make my point? They don't do that.
No, they just issued a statement. So I asked the question, are they not only being consistent?
If you just allow me, please, I like you, Alan. They did that. Trade unions almost shut down this country. They had to force the government to sign this thing. Even that, UTAC, my own UTAC, we still went ahead to declare a strike action 3-4 days to elections. I want to start from there. UTAC issued a statement telling the government that by the end of September this year, if the government doesn't declare state of emergency and come on this year, UTAC will go on strike. Today, UTAC is on hibernation. At the beginning of the year, since this new government came inside, trade unions, especially the TUC, has been on solid hibernation when it comes to Galamsey. They have been snoring. They've ignored it. We've seen civil society organizations. We've seen the Kanaka Bishops Association. We've seen almost everybody come out against them, but the TUC took a backbench, took hibernation. But even the TUC themselves realized that they cannot continue this sleep. So it's on the one hand, when you hear government say we are winning, we are doing what they say, TUC has come out to tell you that all that is not true. TUC has come out to say that. So the question I ask the TUC is, what's your move? Do you have the balls to do what you can do? Or are you just doing it because you realize that everybody is doing it, you're just coming up? TUC, you have a right. You visited water treatment points. What you saw there is completely different from this cherry picking that we are seeing this government official trying to present to us today. They went there themselves. Nobody told them. They went there. They saw the water treatment. And they are telling you that it is not fit for human consumption. Since that time, when TUC was in hibernation, research published by TV3 shown that our cassava, all our legumes are almost not fit for consumption. TV3 has published that to tell us how bad this issue has gotten. Since the time has gone, you were talking about, I'm happy. I can tell my name is being tried. I'm happy. I have absolutely no problem. I've said that a lot of times. I remember, said, I don't care. I don't wait for it. He's been tried. If there's a crime is committed, do it. There's a story on Ghana Web today. My son's gold deals are clean. NDC Abuaka South chairman fired back as critics. That is the NDC Abuaka chairman. You are saying, should they arrest him? Should they investigate him? Why is he still at post? Here was the president who told us that DC is not doing. This DC's son is doing Galamsey. Because he's a DE son, Iyoko is not inviting him. Nobody's inviting him. That's okay with that. We also mentioned the woman, the parliamentarian, who was distributing pickups like Bofruit to NDC. And what he was given an award, engaged in all this and what is happening to her. We were told in this country that the NDC General Secretary and their National Youth Organization were under...
Are you talking about Joanna Jan?
Okay, maybe that's the name. I don't know. We were told that
she engages in Galamsey. Is that the accusation you're making?
We were told that the NDC National Organizer and the Youth Organizer have been under investigation. We've seen how this government does investigation. What is the update on that investigation? Where is the case between for this guy? Where is the case right now? What has happened to it? So you see this again, selective weaponization of the justice system. We once again see that, look, we are trying to make it look like if you are even accused, your name is even mentioned as Galamsey, as NDC. The government created this narrative that because Chairman Wuntumi was not being prosecuted, that was why Galamsey was going on. You've arrested Chairman Wuntumi. If you hear him, you've frozen what he said, he's standing trial. I wish him all the best. Make the laws of this country work. I have absolutely no problem with that. What about the other big fishes we're talking about? What about your national chairman? What about your national youth organizer? Why are they not? What is the update? Why are you not updating us on what is happening?
National chairman?
Sorry, your national organizer. I'm talking about Samin. You know the guy. Yes, you know him and you know Abanga. What is the update on that? How can you tell us this, that you are doing this? How come the government has come? And there's one thing that actually, you said that this thing was made worse because of all the licenses Akufo-Addo issued. Yes, it happened. Why is the government not revoking all these licenses? If the government gives you a license, the government can revoke the license. The license belongs to the government.
The licenses are being revoked.
Please, I never heckled you.
You asked the question.
Why haven't you revoked all those licenses? When the Gallant 8 died, we said as a country we need to come around the flag. Have it around the flag the movement.
Who did you say was distributing the pickups? You said there's a woman who did and given an award. I'm asking, who are you talking about?
I'm talking about a woman that gave a flags. If you that was given an award.
And I'm asking you, are you saying that woman is engaged in Galamsey?
I'm saying that.
You're making that accusation.
I've not made any accusation. What I'm saying is that there are certain members of the NDC who need to be investigated because of their involvement in gold mining. I'm saying they need to be investigated to know whether they are engaged in Galamsey or not. They need to be investigated. But there's one thing I'm saying. Part of the reason why this government is dilly-dallying with Galamsey is because the price of gold is all-time high. And Galamsey gold is making it to the national gold stock. And we are getting a lot of money from gold. So if you look at it invariably, the government of Ghana is funding Galamsey because the government of Ghana is buying part of the gold the government is buying is coming from.
What do you make of the argument in relation to that? No,
he has made a statement against government. Let me put on record.
You won't put anything on record. You are not the host here. Put on record. I'm also saying that one buys from license officers. But where the license officers buy from?
Yeah, go ahead.
But the point is that we must also let that to understand that she cannot be intimidating the woman.
Oh, man.
Oh, come on. You're sitting down here. Somebody's saying things. No. All of a sudden, you see, somebody's saying things like, Solomon, this is how we talk about it.
Yeah, but you're intimidating.
Solomon, what's your reaction towards the TUC is only being consistent, right?
We're dealing with a very seasoned government.
The TUC is only being consistent, aren't they?
The two of them.
That's a very seasoned communicator.
Of course, but I'm afraid maybe there will be
no.
Solomon, I don't beat women, and I've never beaten a woman.
The truth of the matter
we know, Dr. Lazon. You don't need
Solomon is full of mischief.
TUC, they are not consistent. That is my problem.
Why not?
You know, last year, it's good that I'm not dead, and you are also not dead. You were the one asking the questions. When some of us were fully supporting them that the much-awaited strike, nationwide strike that they had given us the indication they would be embarking on, they needed to do it. You were here. They chickened out last minute based on the flimsy excuse. And some of us said, look, we have known this TUC under the days of Apiaje and Eduamankwa. This cannot be a correct TUC. Some of us called for the disbandment of this TUC because they were not making any progress in this country. Now, when UTAC, I'm happy Zato brought the idea of UTAC. When UTAC Legon, was it Legon that said they would go on strike? That Professor Jambo led that invasion. Go and see insult. In fact, on various UTAC campuses, and you know UTAC is now divided into MPP and NDC lecturers. I can tell you without any equivocation that about 99% of NPP lecturers voted against that strike, including Zato. And I've told him before that he voted against that strike. That UTAC had no business whatsoever going on that strike. And he has confirmed that as TUC, you do not enter into politics during election year to affect election outcomes.
So you think they should have taken that action?
They should have taken it. They should have taken it. It doesn't matter which where
they should have backed down.
Absolutely. We are building a nation. What has it got to do with elections? If by going on strike a party will lose, so be it. But they did that. My concern with this Galamsey is that by the end of this administration, I want to see the water bodies very clean and clear. That is my only objective. I'm not interested in whether or not you use mask, chemos, I want to see the water bodies clean. But you can also discuss this without questioning the integrity of the TUC itself. Now, they have been able to visit various Galamsey sites. Based on what evidence are they comparing what they saw this time around with? Because the last time you were not at the site, so you couldn't have estimated or determined how degraded the environment was. You are not comparing to anything. That is why I don't take them serious. Look, we have called for the revocation of the LI 246.
The movement for change.
The movement for change. And
tomorrow you become a political
party. Once we launch our political party, we will begin to offer constructive criticism to this government. You are saying you are going to go. It has to. There should not be any other explanation to it because we called for it.
Revocation.
Yes, and I remember my sister B and I in opposition, we consistently said it had to be revoked, so it cannot change.
Yes, it has not changed.
It should not.
We are very consistent.
You understand? Because you see, that singular act by the president through his ministry, it's a crime against humanity. That forest that hitherto were not allowed to mine in, you decided to bring a law for us to enter. Who will do that? Now, beyond that, we must go after the kingpins and the big fishes. And I'm happy Zato agrees that prosecuting Wontumi must be seen in the national light. Remember that Wuntumi's case started under President Kufuor. Why did we allow him to be walking about freely? Was it because he was doing something that was inuring to the benefit of the party, and so we didn't need to touch him? In any case, I am also for the full-blown investigation of Yamin and Abanga, as well as me. I don't even believe in investigation. As for Professor Frimbo Boating's case, the report, the man is alive. Professor Frimbo Boating is alive. Why don't we do a full, commission of inquiry? Call the man. Let us call all those that he asked and put them before cameras for them to answer the questions. If they are found culpable, we prosecute them. Why we did that? The man is alive. You want him to die before we say, oh, Professor Frimpo Boating said this? No way. When Prof issued this report, if you like, call him, the sort of threats on his life, including court cases, the number of court cases he has, just to gag him. But you cannot gag a man that do surgical operations in the heart. You can't. Even heart is able to restore. How much more you...
Mouth.
You understand? So, Galamsey is a serious matter. But granted, this administration is not even doing what you are expecting them, which I expect them to do more, because they cannot
to do more.
They have to do more. There is no substitute to that. I have seen what NIMOS is doing. I have gone closer to them. I believe that if they are allowed to work and resources are given to them, mind you, in the Suale administration, they threw about $200 million into there without any resource. We don't want to have it this time around. We want any Pessoa, penny, or city invested in this enterprise yield something substantial to save the people of this country. But because we cannot continue to have a woman have their menstrual cycle shortened, we cannot be giving birth to 3, 4, 5, 6 eyes, 14 legs here and there. That will not be good for us. We cannot see Galamsey take place in the open when security officials look unconcerned. That cannot be, and that is not un-Ghanaian. What we are looking for is that if the gold, by mining the gold, it will destroy the environment. After all, gold is not going to rot. Let it be under the beneath the earth, so that we keep it there until the time that we get the appropriate technology to mine it. Then we can mine it. We still insist that the revocation of licenses must continue. And again, the Minerals Commission must be strengthened to do their monitoring role, so that people that are giving licenses, when they apply for licenses, they present business plan. In the business plan, they show how they will reclaim the lands. Let them have heard the minister, which is a very good plan, he must implement it, that they will begin to let licenses, those that small-scale miners, put forward bonds. So that if you're unable to reclaim the land, they call on the bond to use the money to go and reclaim the land. It's a beautiful thing. What is missing is whether or not it will be implemented. I believe that he has to implement it so that this country will move forward in a very uniform way and rid ourselves. Look, if you go to the World Gold Council's website, Ghana is sit in terms of gold production. You can't tell me that the extent of destruction of the environment is is very much familiar with China, which is the leading gold producing country. You cannot say same for Russia, which is the second leading producer of gold. You can't say same for Canada, which is the third leading producer of gold. You can't say same for United States of America. You can't say same for Mexico. Why should we say so about Ghana? And we continue to glorify it.
As in they are in the top rankings.
Yeah, in the top ranking.
But their environments are not destroyed.
Yes, so there is a responsible way of mining. And until such a time that we get to that responsible way, we must not be issuing our licenses as cakes. to party apparatchiks and then people that have the links with people in authority. That is the only way out that we can deal with. But Zato and his people must understand that when we are talking about the issues of Galamsey, for now they must shut up and then we will deal with the issues as a party comes out and then take on this administration, because in 2028 we will give them a match of their lives.
Okay. What time are you launching?
9 o'clock in the morning. Tomorrow, Coconut Grove, all roads lead there. Journalists must come in their numbers, but we don't give solely. We only give words of encouragement.
Okay, what's the name of the party so that we'll be promoting the party?
We are unveiling it
as part of our civic
you
responsibility.
want me to do the unveiling this morning? Roland, why are you doing that?
All right, Solomon also, thank you very much as well.
But let me just conclude and assure them that government has currently revoked over 400 licenses. So when Dr. Zato says, just revoke all the licenses.
Why only 400? You said they were more than 400. Why? No. That's is because
you are a
the only reason for today, yes, thank God you did. Fitch today is reporting that the reason why we are not doing this is because gold prices are distant.
No, you
Galamsey money is the one that gold board is selling. And because of the high prices of gold, government is not willing to end the Galamsey. If the Galamsey gold was not the one funding the gold board, by now we have ended this. Yes, I will stop. Go ahead, do your opinion. I will stop.
find out from you.
No, don't find out from me.
No.
You are not finding.
I want to find out from you.
When was in government
when did he say?
Your mics are off. Gentlemen,
you come and sit here and
your mics are off. Gentlemen, your mics are off.
Did he resign
all right.
because of Galamsey? Did he resign because of Galamsey?
All right. Okay, gentlemen, your mics are off. Gentlemen, your mics are off. All right. All right. So let me read a couple of comments so far. Yes, because your sound is coming through my mic. So, all right, okay. I have some comment. Let me quickly. Hey, Dr. Zato, relax. Dr. Zato, relax. You are too agitated and animated.
I'm not agitated. No. You see, that's the point.
Lawyer Kakre Samuel. Good morning to you. I hope you're well. He says my friend Dr. Zato is running away from the essential point of lawyer Martin Pebu's analogy that it was only exceptionally bold spirits who could criticize a Kufuor and feel safe. And then I also have this one from May. And May says that remind Dr. Zato that the gold board right here through Sami Jemfi debunked that assertion that they buy gold from Galamseyers.
So what happens to all the Galamsey gold?
And then also Abdullah says I should give you a cup of tea for him to relax. He's too agitated this morning.
I think so. I think you should be serving the guest tea.
I don't want tea. I'm fine.
Give
Beatrice, don't give me tea. I don't want tea.
And then Abiba Asoma of the Ghana National Association also says, I'm enjoying the program this morning, and it looks like it is a hot session. Wednesdays are always hot. And fortunately, we have Beatrice to also come in hot as well. So we have one hot lady, two hot gentlemen. And Prince Daniel York, watching us from the UK, says, Paparo, the oral, we are watching keenly. That's all I can say for today. And congratulations in advance to Solo and Alan Chamanting for tomorrow. 9 a.m. we are told, the Coconut Grove Hotel,
Grove, yes.
Or Regency Hotel. Okay.
Coconut Grove.
And, okay. Now this one is coming from Mama War of the Asogliste, who says, don't, okay. So I shouldn't mention. Okay. Then I have more comments coming through. Nani Al-Sapong. Nani Al-Sapong too is part of the new party.
Absolutely.
Okay. Nani Al-Sapong of the new party to be outdoor tomorrow. Movement for Change today.
A lot of MPP people.
So on the eve of the outdooring of the new party by the Movement for Change, its leading member, a political aide to Alan John Kojo Chamanting, Nane Al-Sapong, says, Roland, it's unfortunate the line Dr. Zato is going. Is he by any means endorsing the politics of insult by Abronye? 2, He's telling Ghanaians, Galamsey started in January 2025 and our water bodies destroyed in about 10 months. 3, tell Dr. Zato there's a difference between owning a concession site or land and being involved in Galamsey. The lady he mentions owns concessions and may be involved in small-scale mining, but Wuntumi has been captured clearly by several reports to be involved in Galamsey and asked for the pickups. Dr. Baumia is captured in his own testimony to have distributed.
You are reminded me of the petition, eh? The OSP must not be sleeping on the job.
Dr. Baumia distributed 300 pickups.
He said it. He said he gave more than, not even 300, more than, brand new.
It's serious.
Navara. I don't know whether that will have one.
I don't know how many did Haaland distribute.
And then Zilis Dwayne says that
Haaland didn't distribute the pickups.
Zilis Dwayne from the UK said, I'm just enjoying today and just look at this stellar performance by lawyer Beatrice Anang, mixing it with the gang-ho men, Zato and Solomon.
It's a female version of herself.
Female version of Zato and then
Please, I can
Solomon.
never be the female version of Dr. Zato. I beg you.
This one is coming from Felicia. Felicia says that lawyer Beatrice just asked my question today because I wonder why Dr. Zato comes to the show in the name of so-called be an analyst or a neutral person. He's an NPP. Oh, but his posters are out there. He doesn't deny it that he contested Sisala East. I don't know why you people every week you keep reminding.
From there. He will go to Nando.
Why he wants to contest.
Announce
We
that you are
encourage
going to
him.
Nando. No, you go. I will be there.
And then Moses says I should encourage you be appearing more often among men
I've told them.
and not only women.
Please tell the people in charge of the placement, Peter and Samia, they have been doing the placement.
They have been placing.
Yes, I'm a very obedient party member. Anytime they place me,
They
I'll
should be
go.
bringing.
Okay, gentlemen.
We can be boxing you.
Thank you.